A number of us have not necessarily lived through the challenges that we're living through right now. The erosion of our rights, the expectation that rights will be attacked that haven't been in at least 2 generations. This is the most difficult work that 3 generations of people have done.
The ACLU of Wisconsin is meeting this moment as a team and as a united front. We have a vision statement and a mission statement that we wrote together, understanding what's important to every person on this team.
And so it takes every single part of the team to make the thing go. We're going to meet challenges in the courts of people not knowing their rights and education, and also we'll meet whatever challenges there are in the streets.
Everybody has a role to play. Whether it's the cases that we take or the bills that we fight for or the resources that we're making, it's all done in community.
Watching the team wind up towards challenges. I have an example of this is the Pregnant in Prisons campaign.
Now I'm not with Bentley, and it's heartbreaking. She got us in touch with the ACLU.
The Wisconsin prison system tears newborns from the arms of their mothers despite a law that's meant to keep them together. So we're taking it to court.
I happened to be in Madison, and we found out that there was going to be a ruling by the judge that day.
A Dane County judge says the state must launch a program for currently incarcerated moms.
Hello, Wisconsin. We won.
I got to hear us win, and that some deep needs of community members were going to be met. This hours and hours of research and brainstorming and various parts of the team supporting the legal team and figuring out how to achieve this outcome.
I love being a mom.
And that was just a microcosm of all this hard work across the team getting there. And that win was going to have impacts for legislative work about what was possible going forward. We have these moments that we can build upon where we operate in a way that brings people towards us with trust. You plan for a future where you and your teammates across multiple organizations and communities are crafting good legislation that Wisconsinites want and enhances their quality of life. And then you deal with the present moment. What's the gap between this future that you want and the moment that we're in? And so, yes, an awful lot of it is defense.
I appreciate the opportunity to testify in opposition to the direct or indirect use of facial recognition technology by the Milwaukee Police Department. While local law enforcement agencies, including MPD, may have good intentions, history reminds us how quickly larger systems can override those intentions.
There was a day when there were multiple anti-trans bills that were all scheduled at the same time. A number of people on the staff and the board divvied up the work so that people were in each room all the time. And in one of those rooms, there was a man who had been asked to come and provide testimony that said it was perfectly fine to discriminate against trans people. He spent an entire day in a room filled with community members who were willing to educate him, not condescend to him, to build community and relationships with him. And he went up to the front to testify. He said,
"My eyes were open. I was one of the critics that sat on the side and made the decisions there was only 2 genders. So I got an education that was unbelievable. And my perspective for people have changed."
And so if you want to know what the power of community education and building relationships is, and testifying in front of the legislature and fighting for rights that are based in our shared humanity, that story encapsulates it.
We say our work is in the courts, in the legislature, in the streets. And in the streets sounds like a big deal, like that you're gonna protest and whatnot, and that is a piece of it.
Protest groups have a right to assemble and march within sight and sound of the RNC. We're going into court to enforce that right.
It's a beautiful thing about our country and our democracy.
The legal team cannot do their work alone, nor if the rest of the team doesn't engage with community members, whether that's through organizing or engagement, getting people to come towards us and feel warmly welcome and knowing that they have a role to play. An example of this is election protection. Having 150 volunteers who were ready to go out into communities to make sure that the election was happening in a fair and free way.
We have an organizing team that is really building power across the state, educating people on how the legislature works, how you can contact your legislatures about a particular bill or issue, and how you can show up and testify and learn how to do that. The best tactic is community, and when you look back at all of the big revolutions, it's people standing up and saying, no, this is not right, that makes a difference.
There is always hope for the future that you want. And I would tell anybody who has any reticence and says, well, I'm not that person, I don't call myself an activist. I would say you are free to do it scared. And you do not have to have a steady voice when you get to the mic, but you do have a moral obligation to protect not just yourself or everyone you love, but people that you will never meet who are different than you.
All of us need all of us to make it.
And you may not be someone who can maybe do this work full time, but you're someone who can do something. The power of people will eventually turn the tide. You're welcome to join the ACLU.
And so the invitation is be part of some of that work, any of that work.